Alright, we're back with Butcher's Part 2. Raghorn from Eagle Entertainment. Eagle Entertainment has sent me this one because I've got to watch it before the third one came out, of course. First one, have a look at the first review of the first movie. I really enjoyed the first movie. This one, I got a little bit of a different opinion. Storyline's pretty easy. A bunch of crims crash their car in the bush. Little bit of the same. A little bit different. They're the ones now getting hunted. Of course, they have a hostage as well. Very questionable, some of this stuff in this movie, where they went from the first one to this one, and a little disappointing. And I'm going to get through it with you now with my own personal scores, but thank you, Eagle Entertainment, and I'll let you know my scores. Alright, we start off with the story and the plot, and I'm only giving it 2 out of 10 for the story and the plot. Reason is, like I said, rinse and repeat. It was the same recycled story, basically. Bunch of crims this time crashing their car in the bush and then having to make their way. Look, the first 20 minutes I was actually pretty engaged, but we'll get to the engagement and drawn in part later on. The first 20 minutes of the storyline and the plot was pretty good, but then it became same old, and then it just went totally weird and different compared to the first one, which just wasn't my cup of tea. I don't want to give spoilers, so it's only a 2 for that. The casting and the acting in this only gets a 1. Yeah, once again, they're no-namers. Yeah, once again, that's not a problem, like I said in the first one, because no-namers can really make a decent film for a B-grade film, but the no-namers in this, you could just tell that they were getting their lines fed to them. At times it was cringeworthy with some of their freaking acting. Their acting was just hard to watch sometimes. It was very, very hard. I think they did a really, really bad job of casting this crew, and the acting from them was pretty terrible. Really terrible. Especially the hillbillies. They just weren't believable in the scare factor, and we'll get to that later on. Let's go to the next bit. So that gets us to the dialogue, and the dialogue only gets 2 in this one. And I'm not being really harsh and critical, but like I said, it felt like their lines were getting fed to them, and it was pretty obvious, and the dialogue was just cringe. But it still gets more than the cast and the acting, the dialogue, because they tried to tell the story a little bit. They tried. They gave me a little sprinkle. They gave me a little snippet. They gave me a little snippety snip. But not good enough. Only a freaking 2 for that. Visually, I'll give it a 4. Once again, the bush looked good. You could tell it was B grade. Once again, when you're watching it, I have no issue with that at all. No problem with that. As a want-to-be filmmaker, freaking your first films are going to be budget, but visually, a 4 out of 10. We'll get to the kills and all that a little bit later, but they could have looked visually, could have looked a bit better, and they could have done a lot better with the camera angles and all that, like they did with the first movie. Not a big deal, but still gets under 5, only gets a 4 for me. The movie kills get a 5. It was halfway there. They were halfway there. They tried, but they didn't fail. Half is good, so 5 is pretty good, and it helps put your little rating up there, part 2. But yeah, the kills, there was some good kills. There was a kill that wasn't even by the hillbillies. Spoiler alert. You see the moose's horn go through guy's stomach. That looked cool. So stuff like that. There was some cool kills, but only gets a 5. But that's still okay. So the kills still keep you watching. The horror in this only gets a 1. Unfortunately, it only gets a 1. They really lacklustered it. Like I said, the kills were okay. They were halfway there. But the horror was just not even there. It was just just doing it like there was no horror. There was no horror elements to try and scare us. It was just hillbilly kill, and it didn't even try and put the scare into us. Didn't even put the horror into us. Didn't even put little bits of horror elements of someone waiting before they're about to get killed. And it was just only a 1 out of 10. It really, really lacklustered in that, big time. Honestly, big time. When you watch it, you'll understand. Scare factor gets a 0. A 0 out of 10. I've never given a 0 out of 10 in one of these yet. And that's not a bad thing. It's still watchable. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. Still watchable. But scare factor. There was no elements of trying to scare you at all. It was all straight away out in the open, where they don't try and even tease a horror element like before and a scare factor element. So nothing there. Nothing there at all. Really disappointing after the first movie. Did it keep me engaged and drawn in? A 3 out of 10 it's going to get for that. Like I said, the first half of the movie, not the first half, the first 20 to 30 minutes, I was really digging it. I was loving that. Straight away getting to watch part 2. I was like, part 1 was a banger. 6.4 I gave it. Sport my own score. Go back and watch that review. 6.4, which is good for a budget movie. But this one, like I said, after the first half an hour, I just started to go, really? Come on. And that brings us to the kills and the horror elements and the scare factor. Why they're so low. That's why the engaged and drawn in is so low as well, because it lacked over there. So, unfortunately, you blew it. Entertainment value, I'm going to give it a 3. You're still going to get a 3 for that. Entertainment value, you're like, yeah, I'm entertained in some bits. Like I said, the first 30 minutes, I was pretty entertained, and I was hyped up from the first one. But then once it started lacklustering, and with a lot of those kills and horror just not that being great, my entertainment value went down the toilet a fair bit, but still watchable. As per advertised, look, the trailer looked way better than what I saw on this film. What it says on the back, way better than what I watched on this film. I was so excited, but like I said, you need to make your own mind up, of course, because I'm still looking forward to the third one, and I'm still can't wait to do the review on that and all that, because it's a trilogy. Sometimes you get a shit movie in the middle of them, but I'm still going to keep it because I want to keep the trilogy. So, only gets a 3 as per advertised. That's not a big deal. So what did Raghorn get? Book 2 out of 10. Well, unfortunately, they didn't continue the story properly after the first one, which was very disappointing. So it only gets a 2.4 once all my scores there are added up. A 2.4 for this one. Does not make the shit. It's not in the shit fucking film factor. You've got to get 2 or lower for that. But certified shit. So I didn't make that. Still watchable. Have a watch of it. It's available at JB Hi-Fi. Thank you, Eagle Entertainment, for sending this one to me. I apologize for, I'm not doing a negative review, but this is my honest opinion on the movie. And this happens sometimes. You can't bullshit just because something gets sent to you and say that it's freaking good. I'm not like that. I'm going to tell the truth, my personal opinion. And unfortunately, I didn't enjoy this one, but I freaking loved the first one. So I'll do my review on the third one soon. And the third one comes out in a week's time. And that's going to be banger, and it's hopefully going to go off. But this is a 2004 last year's movie. They didn't rush it. I just don't know I don't know how they went wrong, because they should have made some money from the first one to be able to put into this. So, bit disappointed, unfortunately for me. But I'm going to keep this in my collection, and I do recommend watching it on streaming services. Otherwise, if you want to put it in your collection, freaking JB Hi-Fi, I've got this one. But thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, do what the fuck you want. I'll be back with whatever I do next time. Until then, say hi to your mum for me. See you!